You make me brave. You make me do things that I could have never imagined. That's the word that I say to God every morning. You make me brave. I'm not brave naturally. Naturally I'm fearful, and naturally I look at the circumstances, but God makes me brave. And I want to ask you, are you brave? Are you willing to take on a Goliath? Or have you succumbed to living life in a box? The writer of the book of Judges tells us that Samson, you remember Samson, right? Samson, the strongest man to have ever lived. Samson, who took a jawbone of a donkey and slew 1,000 people. That's Samson, that armies were scared of. Our introduction to Samson's warrior nature comes when we are told that when the roar of the lion came, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he rent the lion into pieces. It took the roar for the Spirit to rise. I got to talk about that for a second. I've got to talk about the fact that the thing that you are most fearful of is what the Spirit will use to empower you to push forward. The roar of the lion, I thought that was very interesting, that it was the roar that made the Spirit come upon him. What's roaring in your life? What's roaring in your life that people have told you, you better not touch that, and there's no way you can fight that. You're too small to go against that. And I want to ask you, what would happen if you ran not away from the roar, but toward the roar? What would happen if you had the boldness to run toward the thing that everybody else is running from? Was it not David who not just took a slingshot with 5 smooth stones and went up against Goliath, but we are told very clearly by the writer of the book of Samuel that he ran toward the battle line to meet him. And I think that God is looking for people that are willing to run toward the battle. They're not waiting for something to come against them and have this fatalistic attitude of it. If it is, it'll happen. And if it's God's will, it'll just take place. Almost as if to say, if God wants my hair to be brushed, then he'll brush it for me. God is looking for people that are willing to run toward the battle, toward the lion, toward the enemy, toward the thing that's roaring in their life. Because this is what I want to say to you. If it's roaring against you, it's roaring against your community. And it's roaring against your region, and it's roaring against your people. And there is something on the inside of brave people that's willing to release the chains, not just for themselves, but for their family and for generations after them. God wants to give you a fight for something that's going to allow you to destroy something that's been up against your whole people and your whole family. God wants to make you brave. God wants you to run toward a challenge that's going to change the world and change and transform nations. God wants to make you brave. God wants to make you powerful. Gideon is threshing wheat in a wine press. And if I had time to talk about that, I would talk about how there are people who find themselves doing one thing in something that's designed for another. I don't even have time to talk about living below your purpose and living in places and shadows and in fear and scared, like they say where I'm from. But the word of the Lord through the angel comes to Gideon and says, mighty man of God. Who, me? He must have said, how am I mighty? I'm hiding from the enemy. I'm hiding from the thing that everybody else is scared of. But it is God that will make you brave. And you might say, well, when did Gideon become brave? When the word came. When the word came. and you're listening to me now, and the word is coming to you now, that God wants to make you brave. Stand up strong. God wants to make you brave. The first challenge that came in your mind as I'm talking, that's the thing that God wants to empower you to fight. That's the thing that God wants you to win. He wants to give you a victory. Not just in heaven, in the by and by, streets paved with gold, but on earth, for David said, I would have fainted unless I believed I would see the goodness of God in the land of the living. God wants to make you brave in the land of the living. Be brave. Be strong.